Hi, my name is Megan Rodney and I teach second grade at John Hall Elementary in Centerville. And I wanted to share with you a little bit about how I work on grammar and conventions with my second grade readers and writers. So what you're looking at here is an anchor chart that we made together as a class before winter break in December. And what had been working on was a persuasive letter writing unit. And we were getting towards the end of the unit and I wanted to do some editing with the students, and I wanted to focus on beginning capitals and the different reasons why and when an author might use a capital letter. So we learned and reviewed, of course, the standard at the beginning of a sentence, but then also made sure to talk more about some proper nouns like first letter in a person's name, the title of a business or a place, and then also some of the students wanted to challenge themselves to do some things like some big bold print to indicate emphasis or importance of a word and knew that all of those letters could or should be capitalized. At the bottom, I added the little letter I because upon reviewing my students' writing, I realized many of them were not doing this independently, even though that was a skill I did expect them to have at this point in second grade. So I made sure to add that to the list and let them know that these would be things that from now on I would be looking for in their writing, because they were very helpful to a reader of our writing. It would help them to know when we were beginning a sentence or another important idea like a person's name or when we were talking about ourselves. So what you're looking at here is one of the anchor charts we made as soon as we got back from January. It is the ending punctuation chart. You can see that on the left-hand side we had beginning and we put capitals, and that is because we had previously reviewed the first day back from winter break the beginning capital chart that you just previously saw. And we used that prior knowledge as a springboard for talking about ending punctuation and the different reasons why authors use it and different reasons why readers need it and how it helps us. And then some of the different types of ending punctuation they knew and what that ending punctuation meant. And I wanted to do this because I knew we would be beginning two mini units in reading and writing. And I really like to do my reading and writing units simultaneously so that they can integrate well and be supportive of one another as far as the skills go that the students are expected to know and to be able to do. And so because I knew in reading we were going to be working on using punctuation as a way to read fluently and accurately in order to increase our comprehension, I also knew that it would be a good time to work on ending punctuation with my students. So I asked them upon that week coming back to go ahead and get out a piece of writing that they had not yet published before and to look back at it. And after going through this with them, I asked them to go ahead and edit for these types of beginning and ending punctuation that we had been studying. And I asked them to get out a colored pencil in order to fix, to change, or add these types of marks into their writing as a form of editing. Once I saw that my students were able to do this in previously written writing, that for many of them was sort of from the beginning of the year, I then asked them to go ahead and do a 10 to 15-minute free write for me. And I asked them to take what they knew about beginning and ending punctuation and use that to help them then go back and look over this clean piece of writing that they had just created. And at the end of that time, I asked them to go ahead and write on a Post-it note for me a sentence from their writing that used beginning punctuation. And I asked them to challenge themselves to not maybe just show me a capital at the beginning of a sentence, but maybe on a character's name or a place or even some big bold printing indicating emphasis or importance. This was a really nice, quick assessment of what my writers could do and who was challenging themselves and who was at a more basic level. We then also practiced reading these with good fluency, focusing on the beginning and then also the ending punctuation that we noticed because of what would be coming next. And then with that same free write, I asked my students to go back and look for a different sentence this time, and it needed to have some interesting ending punctuation, whether it be a period, a question mark, an exclamation point. Some of them wanted to use what we call a dot, 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 or the ellipses, and I said that that would be fine. And I also used this as a quick assessment for who was using different types of punctuation, who was sticking with the standard period, and who was able to put in a little bit more feeling into their writing through the use of a question mark or an exclamation point or even an ellipses. We also practiced reading these talking about how when we put in interesting punctuation, then our readers understand how to read our writing and can read it with more feeling, thus creating deeper comprehension for our readers. Those same days that we did the previous beginning punctuation chart and this ending punctuation chart, we were simultaneously focusing on ending punctuation and beginning punctuation as readers, modeling reading a shared text under the document camera, noting how an author uses beginning and ending punctuation to help us read fluently with good expression and intonation as well as accurately. And we discussed and shared with one another how when we read fluently and accurately, it helps to deepen our comprehension as readers. And then drawing parallels to that with our writing, knowing that we can do that for our readers if we can include interesting ending and beginning punctuation. My student teacher then went ahead and created a letter, since they had a lot of familiarity with letter writing from our previous unit, and put it under the document camera as a shared text and asked the students to read along with her and to suggest different beginning and ending punctuation edits. You can notice in there the green is what she wrote and the red is what the class did. We do a lot of think, pair, share where students come up with ideas on their own, turn to the partner next to them on the carpet, and then share out as a class the changes that should be made. This was helpful to see what students had kind of internalized and were able to see on their own, as well as the things that we needed to help them with. This was followed up by them continuing to edit either in the old piece that they had returned to or the free write that we have been working on. Finally, towards the very end of our mini unit, we gave them a piece of text out of a shared book that they were familiar with from Pinky and Rex and the Bully, and we left out some of the important punctuation. We made copies for the students, and they went on their own with a colored pencil to fix, change, add any punctuation beginning or ending that they felt was missing. This was really important because we were returning to a shared text from previous units a couple months ago, because we were asking them to do the same thing as readers, to pick out books that they knew were a good fit for them, that fit their interest and purpose as readers, that they could read accurately and with good fluency, and we asked them to be using all of the skills they had been learning about beginning and ending punctuation and how they could help them as readers. We then wanted to see how they could then apply that as writers. Could they take a familiar text and go ahead and edit it using their new knowledge about beginning and ending punctuation? After we gave this to them, we did let them know that we would be looking at it. We would be forming small groups to work with kids on things we noticed they were either really strong at or needed continued help with, but that also we were going to continue to expect to see these things no longer just as editing, but as they're writing. They should be including these things as they go in their sloppy copies. Finally, this is the editing checklist that my students use throughout the year, and it comes from Lucy Calkins' Units of Study in Primary Writing, the new edition, and it focuses on spelling and punctuation, as you can see. And right now we are just focusing on punctuation with editing, but we do focus on all of these throughout the year. You can see that this is for second grade, the typed part. The handwritten part is what I showed students they were supposed to have learned and mastered in kindergarten and first grade, and that those were things I was going to be expecting all of the time in their writing. And you can see that these are also some things we have been reviewing as readers and writers at the beginning of second semester in second grade. I then asked them at the very end of the mini unit to either choose the writing that was a previous piece that they had returned to, or the free write, to edit, to revise, and to publish, to turn into me as an example of what they could do as a writer, in that I would be paying special attention to their beginning and ending punctuation. We were also going to be using these pieces as a speaking and listening common core component, in that we would be sharing them because they were shorter pieces and were able to be shared aloud in small groups. And then I would be listening for students, fluency and accuracy, and I would be listening as readers. Could they use their own beginning and ending punctuation to read with good fluency and good accuracy, hoping to show them that the two skills are important in both reading and writing, that they're not separate, but in fact that they are integrated and supportive of one another. I hope this gives you a really great idea of what you might be able to do as far as grammar and conventions go with your students. This was, like I said, a mini unit. It was about maybe 8 to 9 school days long, and it came at the beginning of second semester as a review and as a support to what we had previously been doing. And also, looking ahead, we will be going into nonfiction reading and writing. And I feel these beginning and ending punctuation skills are going to be very necessary when report writing, when you're writing to teach someone something new. And those are the goals that I'm also setting forth with my students. If you have any questions about that, you can feel free to email me. It's Megan, Megan, dot Rodney, Rodney, at centerville.k12.oh.us. Thanks for listening, and I hope you're taking away one practical thing that you can use with your kiddos tomorrow. Thanks.